What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I would like to talk about defensive tackle David Onyemata and why David Onyemata is the most important player on this Atlanta Falcons defense. But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content. Hit that like button for your boy. I do appreciate each and every one of you guys for your continued support. If you'd like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at JewTalkSports. And if you'd like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ JewTalkSports. If you'd like to be a part of my JewTalkSports membership, you can hit that join tab here on the channel as well. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to talk about defensive tackle David Onyemata and why David Onyemata is the most important player on this Atlanta Falcons defense. So as you guys know, we did sign David Onyemata to a 3-year deal. Formerly of the New Orleans Saints, he was their defensive tackle for the last couple years, and the Falcons did go out and sign him. He played under Ryan Nielsen, who's currently our defensive coordinator that we also brought in this season. And David Onyemata has been one of the biggest signings for this Atlanta Falcons team. And personally, I believe that David Onyemata right now is the most important player on this Atlanta Falcons defense. As you guys know, Grady Jarrett did go down with a season-ended injury. And David Onyemata has been one of those guys that basically has been a glue guy for this Atlanta Falcons team, a guy that does a lot of the dirty work on the defensive line. And you guys know that I believe in the trenches and that the game is won and lost in the trenches. And David Onyemata is, to me, the anchor of this Atlanta Falcons defense. For the last couple years, Grady Jarrett has been the anchor for the Atlanta Falcons defense. But now with us bringing in David Onyemata, he's been that guy who I basically call like the bodyguard on this defense. He is the tone setter of this Atlanta Falcons defense. He's one of those guys that plays with a different type of attitude out there on the field, a very tough player, a guy who penetrates, the pocket, pushes the pocket. And he's one of those guys that makes everyone around him better because of his aggressiveness and because of his strength and because of the way that he plays the game. He's one of those guys that is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He's not a guy that gets a lot of notoriety, even when he was with the Saints. Because he was a guy that did the dirty work. But guys like Cam Jordan, guys like Trey Hendrickson, and a lot of the guys that they have over there in New Orleans, David Onyemata wasn't a name that came up a lot because he wasn't a guy that gets a ton of sacks and things of that nature. But you guys know that I believe on the defensive side of the ball, stopping the run is the most important thing. That's paramount when you talk about being able to set a tone on the defensive side of the ball. And that's what David Onyemata does. He's one of those guys that's one of the best run defenders in the NFL. And that's why the Atlanta Falcons currently has a top 10 defense, or at one point this season we had a top 10 defense, was because of David Onyemata and his ability to make the guys around him better. And we've seen that on Sunday in the absence of David Onyemata when we played against the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals was able to run the football. And we know all year long our Atlanta Falcons has been one of the best teams at stopping the run. And that's mainly because of David Onyemata and his ability to make tackles for loss, his ability to penetrate the backfield and allow other guys to get tackles for loss. And he makes everyone around him better. Guys like Bud Dupree, who's had a pretty good season, guys like Lorenzo Carter, guys like Calais Campbell, all of those guys have been eating off of David Onyemata because he's one of those guys that allows everybody else, because teams have to double team him and triple team him, similar to what Grady Jarrett has experienced since he's been in Atlanta. Having David Onyemata has been like a breath of fresh air. And I really feel like if we're not able to get him back, this Atlanta Falcons defense will continue to struggle because he's one of those guys that's just that good at stopping the run, that good at penetrating in the pocket. As you know, opposing offensive coordinators and quarterbacks, they hate when there's pressure right up the middle, right up the gut of the offensive line. And David Onyemata is one of those guys that can get immediate pressure to the quarterback. And we've seen that all season out of him. So I definitely think that David Onyemata was sorely missed on Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals, and hopefully he's able to come back before next week's game against the New Orleans Saints. Good news is he has 2 weeks to get healthy because we're on the bye week, and I really believe that was the reason why David Onyemata didn't play on Sunday against the Cardinals, because they were trying to give him like a three-week rest because he had an ankle injury. But I do think at this point, because Grady Jarrett is injured, at this point, David Onyemata is the biggest piece to this Atlanta Falcons defense, because he's that anchor on the defense, and because you want to be able to stop the run. Over the last couple seasons, before David Onyemata was here and we just had Grady Jarrett, we really didn't have a lot of good interior pass rushers and good interior players to play next to Grady Jarrett. And to me, he was the perfect fit to kind of unlock Grady Jarrett, allow Grady Jarrett to get more one-on-one matchups, because David Onyemata is one of those guys that's really strong. A guy, like I said, not only that can penetrate the backfield and cause tackles for loss in the run game, but he's also a guy who can also rush the passer on third downs and things of that nature as well. And he's a guy that you can pretty much line up anywhere on the defensive line. He does have that versatility where he's not just a stiff big dude where you can just put him in the middle of the defensive line, but he's a guy that you can also move on the outside as well and play some defensive end as well. But to me, he's been the biggest, he's had the biggest impact to me on this Atlanta Falcons defensive line this season, because of, like I said, his strength, because of his ability to cause havoc against opposing offensive linemen. I really feel like if we're not able to get David Onyemata back soon, it's going to really hurt our Atlanta Falcons defense. And we've seen that on Sunday where teams were able to run the ball against us. We've seen James Conner run the ball against us. We've seen quarterbacks being able to scramble and things of that nature since David Onyemata was out. Kyler Murray, they had more success than teams have been able to have, this season because David Onyemata was out against the Cardinals. But I expect moving forward, I do expect him to be back against New Orleans. And I really feel like at this point, like I said, he's the most impactful player on this defensive line because of his ability to make everyone around him better. And we've seen on Sunday, guys didn't look as good. They weren't getting those one-on-one matchups because we weren't getting that pressure up the middle of the defense. So, Grady Jarrett and David Onyemata, those two as a tandem was sorely missed. But I really feel like David Onyemata has been a guy that's been overlooked pretty much his whole career. But this year, he's kind of been standing out here in Atlanta. But with that being said, you guys give me your thoughts on David Onyemata. Do you feel like David Onyemata is one of the bigger or most important players on this Atlanta Falcons defense? Personally, I think he's the most important player for this Atlanta Falcons defense. If we're going to have success moving forward, I really feel like he's that guy that unlocks everybody on this defense. Like I mentioned, if you can stop the run, you make it hard on opposing offenses because it puts them in third and long situations. If you're able to limit teams to 1 yard, a carry, or 2 yards a carry, or even force negative plays, meaning on first and second down when teams attempt to run the ball, if you stuff them in the backfield and, for no gain or 1 yard gain, that puts teams in third and long situations, which gives your team the ability to get off the field on third down. And we've seen against Arizona, they weren't in a ton of long down and distances. But this year, I feel like we've been doing a better job of putting teams in third and long situations because we've had guys like David Onyemata on this team that's been able to force teams into those, third and long situations because we've been able to create negative plays on first and second down and make teams one-dimensional when we're able to stop the run. So with that being said, you guys give me your thoughts. But as always, Falcons Nation, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. I have a lot more content coming for you guys. But as always, Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed, peace.